Time for world politics, and it looks like another one of the peace talks is on hold and all along those lines. So that is one of the news stories that is out there and all along that kind of space. So it'll be interesting what folks have to say about that, and we'll see who joins us here in this particular situation and this particular broadcast and all along those lines. So definitely it'll be interesting to see how this all plays out and what folks have to say about this particular latest change and all along those lines. But definitely we'll see what folks have to say and what their thoughts are around what is going on with Russia and Ukraine. I do know that later on Sasha may be joining me, and I'm sure he'll have some thoughts around this latest change and what it may impact folks and all in that way. But that is something that is being reported in the world politics and all along those lines. So we'll get to some other stories as well, and definitely see what folks have to say about a number of these stories that are taking place and how it impacts their lives and even what's going on in their own spaces and all along that kind of way. So definitely will be interesting to see how this all plays out and what folks have to say about a number of these political stories that are existing and all in that way. So we'll definitely be following and seeing what folks have to say about a number of these stories and how they are going and all along those lines. But let me just tell you what I'm talking about. The Europe and Ukraine have prepared a 12-point proposal to end Russia's war, and that was reported 4 hours ago and everything like that, and even re-reported about an hour ago on Reuters. But the latest Trump-Zelensky meeting yielded no progress toward a ceasefire in Ukraine, and the Trump-Putin summit planned for Budapest is on hold after Rubio spoke with Lavrov, U.S. officials say. And just because she won a Nobel Peace Prize doesn't mean Malala didn't break some rules in college. Yeah, it looks like Malala smoked some weed in college, and it unlocked a surprising mental health journey. She got married and started a new project with her husband, Asar Malik, encouraging women's sports. So Malala Yousafzai thought she'd never fall in love, but apparently she did manage to do that and all along those lines. And Caroline Levitt blasted a reporter by posting screenshots of his private text. Now her bizarre reply is going viral. White House gives wild response to a simple question asked by a HuffPost reporter, and that was reported a couple of days ago and all along those lines. And a boy died from extensive internal bleeding after her dad tells him to sleep off snake bite. So Australian boy 11 died from snake bite after father told him to sleep it off. So definitely, apparently his father told him to ignore the bites and tell him to sleep it off. So definitely, I'm sure there'll be some probably legal consequences for that action. And Israel identifies the body of deceased hostage as Sergeant Major Tel Hemi. And Israel says its forces have received 2 bodies of deceased hostages in Gaza. IDF brings bodies said to be of 2 deceased hostages back to Israel, and definitely, they're even saying that Israel has confirmed how the hostage died with 15 bodies remaining in Gaza. So that is something that people are talking about as well. And EU agrees to gradually end Russian gas imports by January 1st, 2028. So EU countries move to pull the plug on Russian gas to Hungary and Slovakia. So it looks like the EU is moving to ban Russian energy imports by 2028. And mosquitoes are found in Iceland for the first time as temperatures in the region rise. So mosquitoes have been found for the first time as climate crisis warms that particular country. So mosquitoes now in every country in the world except this one. So apparently there is one that they might still not be at, but apparently they've now been found in Iceland. So definitely, if you're still talking about how this weekend's violence in Gaza shows how fragile the ceasefire really is, and facing threats from Trump and Harris, Hamas says it's committed to a Gaza ceasefire. And that was 28 minutes ago that was reported by the Times of Israel. So like I said, we'll see how this holds on and all along those lines. As I reported earlier, they did say that Jane Goodall's cause of death has been revealed. It looked like it was a cardiac arrest and all along those lines. So, and even Inc. Incorporated is saying how Jane Goodall's explanation for persuading people who disagree with you is backed by science. And Chevron and Shell cut oil output in Kazakhstan after Ukraine strike on Russian gas plant. So blaze reignites at oil depot in Russian-occupied Crimea, according to a media report that came out yesterday, and all along those lines. So definitely there are still things going on in that war as well. And it looks like Jewish extremists brutally assaulted a Palestinian olive harvester in West Bank. Israeli settlers beat Palestinian farmers on video as attacks mount during the West Bank olive harvest. So Israeli settlers' violence skyrockets amid the olive harvest is what UN is saying. And that was reported 2 hours ago as a Palestinian woman is in the hospital after being clubbed by mass Israeli settlers. And Germany's Merz faces backlash over tying migrant deportations to problems that exist as well. So ask your daughters. Merz defends his call for large-scale deportations, and German Chancellor faces growing backlash over his migration remarks. So the migration issue isn't just an issue here in the United States, but it's an issue around the world as well. So definitely a lot of people are paying attention to what's going on with migration and all in that space. So definitely some interesting things going on there. Top Senate Republicans cast further doubt on Trump's special counsel pick after the Nazi streak comments were revealed and all along those lines. So definitely that's something that folks are talking about, just like they're talking about the Trump-Putin meeting on Ukraine won't be happening anytime soon. So Trump's hopes for a quick second summit with Putin apparently have definitely stalled out. And Trump's nomination of Paul Ingrascio loses Republican support following some racist texts. So GOP senators oppose Trump watchdog nominee after report of racist texts. Jewish groups withdraw support for the embattled special counsel pick accused of these racist texts. So definitely we'll see what goes on as report on Trump nominee's Nazi streak texts threaten his Senate confirmation. And a deputy U.S. Marshal was wounded by ICE agent during immigration operation that was taking place in California. So shooting by ICE officer in Los Angeles wounds motorists is what the U.S. Marshal is saying. So ICE enforcement incident in Los Angeles results in injuries against weapons discharge. U.S. Marshal and undocumented immigrants shot during ICE stop in Los Angeles is what an official is saying. Vance visits Israel and says ceasefire in Gaza is going better than expected. So definitely that is some positive news in terms of the work of peace and all along those lines. And North Carolina lawmakers are voting to add GOP House seats in a win for Trump. So Republicans are opposed to add a seventh GOP seat in Donald Trump's redistricting battle. So it looks like North Carolina Senate has approved a new map in an effort to add a GOP congressional seat. And definitely that is something that's going on not just here in North Carolina, but in other states as well. And Hillary Clinton fired up voters against Trump's White House ballroom construction, not his house. And definitely even CBS News is reporting how the White House East Wing offices Trump is demolishing, according to sources. So apparently there's some offices that he's even demolishing as he's getting this ballroom built. So the White House has started East Wing demolition to build the ballroom that Trump wants. So Treasury tells employees not to share photos of the White House ballroom construction, according to the Wall Street Journal. And a pardoned Capitol rioter is arrested for allegedly threatening to kill Hakeem Jeffries. So definitely it looks like that is something that's in the political news as well. And Trump put a new fee on asylum seekers. Many say they don't know how to pay. So definitely that is something else going on as well. And fears of heat rationing for millions in the U.S. as shutdown delays energy aid. SNAP benefits to halt in some states amid a government shutdown. 300,000 Pittsburgh area residents will lose SNAP benefits amid the government shutdown. And some people even ask, will SNAP benefits be paid in November? Trump scored a legal victory over National Guard troop deployment to Portland. So he did win a legal battle in that sense and along those lines. So Trump administration is seeking to dissolve the remaining order blocking National Guard deployment to Portland. So definitely that's something going on as the divided appeals court allows Trump to deploy the guard to Portland state. And legal expert lays out what Ninth Circuit ruling means for the National Guard in Portland. Mass shooting at an Atlanta airport thwarted by a would-be shooter's family. So that was reported yesterday. A man arrested inside the Atlanta airport after planning to shoot up the terminal with AR-15 is what the police chief said. Man accused of planning to shoot up the Atlanta airport, now facing federal charges, according to police. An appeals court judge, including a Trump appointee, voiced doubt over Trump's bid. So DOJ argues judge's decision blocking Mahmoud Khalil's removal was indefensible. So lawyers urge U.S. appeals court to uphold Mahmoud Khalil's release order. And definitely that is something that folks are talking about as well. And an American cattle chief rips into Trump's Argentine beef bailout and saying that it does nothing for the U.S. beef market. So U.S. cattle ranchers are saying Trump's Argentine beef import talk is no solution to the domestic food supply threat. So U.S. ranchers are opposing Trump's plan to import more Argentine beef, and experts doubt it will lower prices. So even Newsweek is saying, sold us out, farmers are outraged at Trump's Argentine beef deal. And can a U.S.-Australia deal on rare earths counter China's dominance? China responds to U.S.-Australia rare earth deals, and friendly Albany-Trump meeting mask Australia's creeping doubt about the U.S. So Trump lists top demands on China and signs a rare earth deal with Australia. And Trump said to demand Justice Department pay him $230 million for past cases. Trump wants $230 million from the DOJ for investigating him. So it looks like Trump is eyeing a $230 million payout from the Justice Department as repayment for earlier investigations. And all but two universities declined a Trump offer of preferential funding. So University of Texas still silent on the Trump deal, tying funding to conservative priorities. And the White House is meeting with new colleges about a compact after rejections that was reported 4 days ago. But UT Austin is one of two universities that hasn't rejected Trump's offer so far. So Trump's AI poop post cap a week of MAGA indifference to Hitler jokes. So Trump is using AI to attack enemies and rouse supporters. So Trump attacks on No King underscore his second term's unofficial mottos. So outrage goes over President Trump's AI video of himself dumping waste on protesters. Curtis Sliwish, the gentleman tied to the Guardian Angels, should pull out of New York City mayor's race right now. Billionaire John Katzmatessa says so. Sylvia Sliwa's boss calls for him to exit the New York City mayoral race to boost Cuomo. So Sliwa's boss became the latest Republican trying to push him out of the New York City mayoral race. So he's being pressured to drop the mayoral bid to defeat Zoran Mamdani, who is currently ahead. So we'll see how this all plays out as well. A timeline of U.S. attacks in the Caribbean and what Congress has had to say. So Trump's Venezuela operation expanded in the dark. And why is the Trump administration releasing alleged narco terrorists is what CNN is asking. Officials, locals undercut Trump's claim about the Venezuela drug boats. And Santos released from prison felt like Trump stuck me in the gut with a knife is what the alleged fraudster said. So Trump's Santos computation fits a pattern of his second term. Santos says the prison system is creating monsters, prosecutors not ruling out state charges for the commuted ex-representative George Santos. And Trump vows to reach a fantastic deal with China, saying the U.S. commands great respect in, I believe, China and around the world. So Trump sees successful G meeting, but allows it might not happen. So definitely there's even some folks like The Economist that are talking about the toxic tragedy of U.S.-China trade talks. So Trump downplays Taiwan risk in the China talks and expects a fair trade deal. So new poll shows Mike Sherrill's chance of winning New Jersey governor's race. So blue New Jersey is expecting a very close race for governor this November. Mike Sherrill is the front runner for the New Jersey governor, but she has an enthusiasm problem. So New Jersey governor race has tightened. And Trump is threatening brutal responses as his ceasefire is crumbling in some ways. So Vance is urging patience about Hamas returning deceased hostages remains. And Trump threatens Hamas amid push towards the next step of the Gaza truce. Trump said yesterday, we are going to eradicate Hamas if ceasefire doesn't hold. And Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson discussed his budget plan and lawsuit against President Trump. So even Paul Vallis in the Chicago Tribune is talking about a pathway out of Chicago's perennial budget crisis. So definitely that's something that's on the political front here in the United States that might have world consequences. A man floats away inside his home during Alaska storm. I was inches away from death. A man took videos as his home floated away with him inside an Alaska storm. Swept away homes, unearthed graves, submerged hunting trails, how Typhoon Halong destroyed an Alaska village. So definitely that is something that folks are talking about. And definitely the people are trying to get their takeaways from Saturday's No Kings nationwide protests. And definitely some people, even like Mr. Magazine, telling you their favorite protest signs from No Kings 2.0. So we'll see what folks have to say about that as well. And Biden rings the bell after completing course of radiation therapy for cancer. So Biden rang the bell after completing radiation therapy for prostate cancer. And Joe Biden completes rounds of radiation therapy for that cancer. And in Chicago, an immense show of force shows a sharp escalation and all along those lines. So whistles have become Chicago's surprising act of protest. So some people are using that whistle to let folks know about their protest and all along those lines. So frenzy of development cement Chicago as the epicenter of the immigration crackdown. So a squalid building, a tip to the feds, and then straight up chaos. And what Hitler did, Colombia President Gustavo Petro's feud with Trump is deepening. So Trump escalates back and forth with Colombia's president announcing an end of U.S. payments to that country. So seventh strike on suspected narco boat kills 3, and Trump is clashing with the Caribbean president over those Caribbean boat strikes. And new court filings reveal who the DOJ alleges Comey authorized to leak info. So Comey cites Samuel Alito and Clarence Thomas in arguing against Halligan's appointment. So James Comey's lawyer moves to dismiss case brought by Trump's Justice Department. And James Comey has asked the judge to toss the criminal case, and the Trump-picked prosecutor Lindsay Halligan was appointed unlawfully. A Maine Democratic Senate candidate addresses his tattoo. He says, I'm not a secret Nazi. So definitely that's what folks are saying. As Graham Plattner says, I'm not a secret Nazi after photos of his tattoo have emerged. And Trump-backed former Navy SEAL launches a GOP primary challenge against Massey. So definitely it looks like Trump will be backing retired Navy SEAL in his quest to oust Kentucky Representative Massey in the Republican primary. So Trump has endorsed the Massey challenger, not yet in the primary race. And that was 3 days ago, but definitely we'll see how this all goes and whether he gives him another endorsement as the Trump-backed Gelrin officially launched his bid to unseat Massey. And a man sentenced in a rape case years after sending a chilling message. So a woman speaks out after sentencing a man who confessed on Facebook to sexual assault. U.S. man who admitted to rape on Facebook will serve a maximum of 4 years in prison. And this is a man that was sentenced for the 2013 rape of a Gettysburg College student. And a new Supreme Court case could turn the National Guard into Trump's personal army. So a 200-year-old president holds the key to Trump's troop deployment, and Illinois has asked the Supreme Court to block National Guard deployment to Chicago. So Supreme Court urged to leave ruling in place, preventing Trump from deploying the National Guard in Illinois. And Republicans broach a longer stopgap bill as shutdown enters its 4th week. So could Democrats win the shutdown standoff? They're still winning the blame game. So right now, pressure rises as the shutdown hits day 21, and Donald Trump hosted the Senate GOP. The Senate vote failed again as the shutdown becomes one of the longest in U.S. history, and definitely that is something that is being thought about and reported throughout the world as well. Foreign grads seeking H-1B status avoid $100,000 Trump fee. So U.S. narrows who pays the $100,000 H-1B visa fee, according to the Wall Street Journal, and Immigration Services issues a guidance on who pays that fee as well. And CIA playing the most important part in the U.S. strikes in the Caribbean, the sources are saying. So CIA activity against Venezuelan leaders revives specter of U.S. interventionism in Latin America. So Trump administration authorizes covert CIA operation or action in Venezuela and gunning for Maduro. Trump targets vessels off of Venezuela and Colombia. And there is some debate as to whether he should be doing this. Marines investigating errant live fire blast over California's I-5. So Marine Corps artillery mishap, part of unusual firing over the highway. So shrapnel from explosive hit two CHP vehicles during the Marine Corps demonstration at Camp Pendleton, the department says. So artillery shell detonated over Interstate 5 during the Marine celebration, California officials have admitted. So we'll see how this goes as well. And the main Democratic Senate candidate embraced Antifa super soldier label. So that is something that folks are talking about politically as well. So a lot of folks are paying attention to that as Maine Democrats running to unseat Susan Collins to stay in the race after discovery of Reddit posting. So Maine's Plattner says the worst is behind him. So Maine's Plattner says the worst is behind him. The Bernie-backed Maine Senate candidate Graham Plattner apparently melted down about 3 days ago. And Interior Department reveals plans to cut over 2,000 jobs. So Trump is going after the National Park Service again in a sweeping way. So it looks like more than 2,000 jobs could be cut at the Interior during the shutdown. And U.S. banks are hunting for collateral to back $20 billion Argentina bailout, the Wall Street Journal is reporting. So as Trump's Argentina bailout gets worse, so do his excuses. So U.S. Treasury sells dollars to keep peso within Argentine FX ban. So definitely looks like there's even reports that Argentina's central bank says it signed a $20 billion currency swap deal with the U.S. And apparently there's a donor surge in the Cuomo campaign. And definitely folks are still paying attention throughout the country to the shutdown. And vulnerable House Republicans press Johnson on Obamacare subsidies. Republicans aren't negotiating an Obama extension yet, but they're getting ready. Republicans push to renew Obamacare subsidies while rejecting Democrat shutdown tie-in. So definitely that is something that folks are paying attention to as well. So like I said, a lot going on in the world, and we'll probably make this an abbreviated edition of World Politics as some of the fellas didn't show up. And all along those lines, I'll give you a couple of commercials, and then we'll get ready to have definitely St. Sia show or Mama Noni show at the 6 o'clock hour. By the way, Netflix reports earnings after the bail. So that was reported earlier. So Netflix misses earning targets after a tax dispute in Brazil. So Netflix share sinks as quarterly profits miss their mark. So, but K-pop did help lift the Netflix revenue 17%. And Warner Brothers Discovery says it's considering a sale. So Warner Brothers Discovery stock hits a 3-year high on M&A Mojo. Wall Street analysts still expect a Paramount takeover. So there might be a takeover of that major entertainment player. And S&P 500 gains and losses today. GM stocks speeds higher, which I know Milan will probably be talking about on Wednesday at the investment show. Newmont sinks as gold retreats, and stocks inches up after upbeat earnings. Gold and yen have fallen. Stock market today, Dow notches its 12th record of the year. So definitely that's something that people are talking about as well. GM share surges on Outlook, upbeat messages on tariffs and EVs. And GM's tariff pain is easing thanks to higher prices, CFO says. So GM expects New Year's results to top 2025 earnings. And AWS, Amazon outage. Are we relying too much on U.S. big tech? Amazon says the DNS error caused the AWS outage, and some folks are asking, what does that mean? AWS type outages won't be the last, and industry faces systematic risk, warns experts in that space. So AWS did recover. Apple rallies and General Motors beats and more were reported in the morning SWOC. And Travis Kelce has joined activist investors to press for changes at the World of Fun owner. Travis Kelce goes on offense. NFL star has joined the activist investors pushes for changes at Six Flags. So Travis Kelsey joined activist active investor Johnny Partner in a push to revive Six Flags. So there's actually a push to revive Six Flags as well. And Trump's cane sugar push for Coca-Cola faces a supply chain hurdle. So that's something that folks are talking about as well. And J.P. Morgan is seeking to attract staff with a $3 billion skyscraper in New York. So it unveiled its new 60-story headquarters, reshaping New York City's skyline. So Jamie Dimon wants everyone in the office, and is a $3 billion building the answer? That's what Wall Street Journal was asking, and we'll see what folks have to say about that as well. New report leaks Amazon's proposed mass automation plan. So Amazon plans to replace more than 500,000 jobs with robots. So Amazon is hoping to replace 600,000 U.S. workers with robots, according to a leaked document. So definitely that'll be interesting to see how that plays as well. Did an OpenAI co-founder just pop the AI bubble? The models are not there. So definitely AI agents are not amazing. They are slop, says OpenAI co-founder Andrej Karpathy, as he strongly disagrees. So it's OpenAI co-founder Andrej Karpathy says it would take a decade before AI agents actually work. And Novo Nordisk entire board is stepping down in a surprise move. And definitely the folks are asking about that as the Novo Nordisk top investor seizes board control in weight loss drug battle. So definitely that's something that's going on in the world of investments and business as well. And Planet Money and NPR had an article about why the internet is going down the toilet. Yes, everything online sucks now, but it doesn't have to, is what ARS Technica reported and everything like that. If you want to kick Elon Musk in the dungle, aim for his margin, is what Cory Doctorow said on why the web went bad and how to fix it. Shares of Beyond Meat soared nearly 300% in a torrid meme stock rally. So one-time penny stock Beyond Meat soars after addition to meme EDF, and that jumped 90% on Tuesday. The day trader who's trying to engineer a GameStop-like rally in a fake meat stock. So definitely looks like Beyond Meat shares soars on planned Walmart distribution. And Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg must take the witness stand as social media safety trial judges have ruled. So he's been ordered to testify at the first social media harm trial, and we'll see what happens in that particular case. And Coca-Cola earnings beat expectations. The stock is rising towards the 2025 high. So Coca-Cola beats expectations with smaller sizes, boosting volume. And DraftKings stock surges following acquisition to launch prediction markets. So DraftKings buys prediction markets platform, but no sports just yet. So DraftKings Incorporated acquired Railbird Technologies to expand into the prediction market and everything like that. And there's an AI divide rolling video game giant Electronic Arts. So definitely folks are talking about that as well. Well, getting ready to get out of here. It's been a fun 30 minutes of information about some of the political and business news that's going on in the world and everything like that. So just really quickly, a Silicon Valley startup admits its balloon may have struck United Jet, forcing an emergency landing. So United flight diverts due to crack in one layer of the windshield. A weather balloon may have cracked a United 737's windshield. That's one of the stories that is interesting and all along those lines. And Anthropic CEO claps back after Trump's officials accuse firm of AI fear mongering. So a statement from Dario Amati on Anthropic's commitment to American AI leadership, and the Anthropic CEO disputes Trump AI czar David Zach's claim that the company is woke. So definitely the whole notion of whether the company is woke or not is something that is very much in the news as well. And Walmart pauses job offers to candidates needing H-1B visas. So definitely looks like they are pausing job offers to workers requiring such visas and all along those lines. So they're even saying that AI stock and gold might be a bubble. The rest of the market, not so much. So some people, including TipRank, says we are absolutely in an AI bubble. Now it's going to burst, says some investors. So are we in an AI bubble? Here's what analysts and experts are saying. You can see that at CNBC. So it ought to be an interesting notion as to whether folks are going to get less investments or what's going to go on in that space. We're going to get a quick commercial in here, well, like a couple of quick commercials, and then we're going to get on out of here. But this has been a fun 30 minutes of world politics, and we'll be back on Thursday as well. But right now, let's check out this thing about our host.